Okay. Good evening, team. Thank you for joining today's session. So let's do a short recap. Yesterday, we saw what is web services. So you understood like first what is an API. So whenever there is a communication happens between two application, that is server and the other one is client and the server. So what will happen? It will first send a message from client to server means we call it as request. When we get the response, reply means that we call it as a response. So initially it's about API means multiple application. It may be not like web application. It may be a product component, IoT applications and all like. And nowadays you have so many automated app, right? You can switch on the light, switch on the AC in the car. So these are all like in how it is possible is through API concept only. So then in that area, that's a very wide area. In that we are focusing on web services. So what does a web service means? Here it is all about the communication between the client and server on through net, HTTP, that is through www. And HTTP means we have totally few important methods. CRUD, crude, we used to say. That's a shortcut way to remember it. Using that only we can able to communicate it. And again, why we want such technology is it's very easy to communicate because heterogeneous applications, most of them are heterogeneous, different platform, different programming language, but there should be some common way. So there comes the web service and how they communicate between two application is one through using the SOAP web service, another one is using the RESTful web service. So this is the two medium they use to communicate, SOAP and RESTful. Then what is the SOAP? SOAP is nothing but simple object access protocol. So with the help of XML document, we used to communicate the data, store the data and communicate it. And it is again having all the advantages as we discussed yesterday: independent platform, operating system, programming language, lightweight. So we can able to easily communicate because of these features. And when we talk about SOAP messages, so it is having a two part. One is envelope. If you want to send a SOAP message, we should send it with the help of SOAP envelope that contains two parts. One is header, another one is body. Header means which will contains all the server details, configuration details. Body means the body, the important message which we are sending, that it will be inside the body. And while sending, we say that as a request. When we get that successful message means we will say response. If it is some error message means we call that as a SOAP fault. The response is having an error means it's a SOAP fault. So this is a simple example of first envelope. So you can able to see the envelope, mandatory one. After that, we saw header. Header means what? Some configuration. You can able to see here header. So this is the configuration details of that particular message. This full thing. To access a particular server, we need some authentication credentials, server details. So again, it is an optional. Some SOAP message will have, some SOAP message may not have it. Then comes the body where we send the main details of our information. It is a mandatory. And when you get the response, we will say response. If the response is having an error, we call that as a fault message. Yesterday, what we have seen with the help of a calculator and how, if you want to test it, what is the way to test it? For SOAP means first we have to request for WSDL file, WSDL. So in that WSDL file, it will contains all the details about the web service. So this is another word. We say that as a contract of the web service. So that one file will have all the details of that entire project, with like types, messages, port type, binding, service port. So for us, this binding is very important. It will have all the features. So using that, we used to test it. So how to do that? First, by clicking on, first we have to load or create a new SOAP project. Yesterday we did this, first creating a project, then we will get this binding. Here two bindings are there. So we can able to test it directly with this, but what is the problem is, if I want to insert assertion means what? Validation. That is, I want to validate the response request. So many things are there, no? So that is not possible directly using the binding. So what we need to do, we have to create the test suite. So first step is to create the test suite. After that, test case. After that, test step. So like this, we can able to do it in multiple ways. Directly, you can able to generate it. That's a one way, or else in a sequential way based on your requirement, you can test it. And see, yesterday we coded it, still the number is there. But when you check it here, it is there. But still, if I want to upload, I can also export this project. Where save as, you can do that and export it. So what is the problem? It will be at the time, I don't think this details and all it will go. Mostly this test suite, this is all the details. We saved it, that it will be exported. And advantage of creating suite is we can able to execute in a single go, see one by one. So using this option, it will execute in the sequential way, one by one. But I want to execute all the test case in a single go, parallelly. So this option we have to test it. If you click this, both of them will be executed parallelly. And you can see once this is completed, you will get the color like a green color. And is that this way, this like this, we can't do it in the binding. So binding is for the reference. From this, we used to create the suite test case tester. So that is how we have to do it. And multiple ways we can do it. And we can also generate, we can also test using the test runner. That so many ways are there. Oh, so we can execute test suite. So sanity, regression, one by one in a sequential way. Most of the project, what we will do, first we will go with the smoke testing, then sanity, regression. So we can sequence that and execute in the sequential way. So, and you can able to see, since there is no number inside this, so it didn't change the color. So here the green color is there, but why here it has nothing happened? We didn't mention any of the details. That's why. If you have a details, then you'll get it. So this is a fault code because we didn't mention anything. So parallelly we can execute. There is a one more feature I forgot to tell yesterday. That is, sometimes what we may not aware about, from based on the WSDL file. So we have the WSDL file link. I want to know you got this link. I'm just talking in terms of project. Sometimes some project will have a documentation. Sometimes we will get only WSDL file. So how is there any shortcut way to understand about this means? Yes, we have it. What is that way is, after you load it, what you can do, right click on this particular binding. You can able to see here, generate documentation. Those option will be very useful. And this is like a cheat code. This feature, they gave it to generate documentation of each one, but you can use that in the starting itself. Like, okay, I want to know what are all it is available. You can do it. 1 minute, I'll show you. Okay. So inside this, I'm going to generate the documentation. So documentation is created. See, now this is much better. For example, it is saying it is a calculator web service, and what is the port? You will have port types on the source code, the main location from this server only. We are getting all the details, and what is its protocol? SOAP over HTTP. Totally, we have 4 methods: add, divide, multiply, and subtract. What is why it is in the alphabetical order? If you observe, S comes the later, and we have 2 bindings. One is calculator SOAP, and another one is calculator SOAP 12. See here. After this, everything having its own details in the source code, and what are all the operations you have it. So first one, see, we can able to add 2 integers, and endpoint receives a message, sends a correlated message, and from which action. So this is that link for add. So this, when you want to do the addition using this way only, you can do it int of 2 number. And what is the response? We'll get it as add result as an input. Source code, if you click, it will go, it is in the bottom. Same way, multiply, divide, those things. And this is that source code. So this source code, now it is much better for readability. You can able to see how the request responds, everything. So one of the great feature, you directly wants to go and check the source code of that. Click on the source code, it will take you to that place. Very, very important feature, which will help, it will makes us to understand about the application even much better. Okay, now one more example, we will do it. And for that, we are going to use this WSDL file. So if you go and enter this, you will have like this. You're not going to understand everything by seeing this. So what we will do, we'll try to create the SOAP project. So we're going to start a new requirement. That is employee portal. Like you want to add an employee details, you can delete and get the employee details. So this URL, I got it somewhere from the internet. Very better, easiest one to do it. Very soon I will try to create a web service under the Next-Gen at that time, because this is again not our things. Somewhere I found it, which is having some errors and all. I will tell you exactly where the error and all. Very soon the web services also you will can find it in Next-Gen using some demo pages. So let's create the new SOAP project. Paste the WSDL link here. What is this? We can give some meaningful name, employee, company, adding employee. What it is related to some employee management. Okay, click on okay. It is loading it. Okay, so now you can able to see this one having add, get, delete. Same way, 2 binding is there, 11 and 12. It means that 12 may have the latest one. Let's try to generate documentation. Okay. See. Hmm. 1 minute. So see. So PI. Okay. WSDL report. So if I run this, this will override. So I will put one more folder, employee. Okay. Okay, then I'll create one folder here. Results. Okay. I'll right click, documentation. Inside this, I'm going to generate this. Okay. See, now we got the documentation of that particular Bristol file. So we can't understand. Only web service developer can able to understand this. Let's go through the documentation. So this is all about the employee management services. And this is the main website it is hitting. And you can see two endpoint. Port one is 11, another one is 12, which is having three operations. One is add employee, get the employee details, and delete employee. So operations, let's explore one by one. Add employee means what? You're going to add an employee details to that particular server. See, it's a real URL. What you're going to add, that will be in adding it to that particular server. We can retrieve it. It is not to the local. It is somewhat similar to the real-time application. And what are all the parameters? So if you want to add, you can able to see its data type. It's all about string data. That is name, ID, department, age is alone, it's a number. That's the first observation. And then you'll get the response as what? Boolean. Boolean means true or false. So it means when you're going to add an employee details at the end, you will get true or false. True means added, false means not added. So that's the simplest one. And it is also saying the fault. What is the fault? So you'll get a message if it is fault, failure. Okay. Delete employee. So you're going to delete it with the help of employee name. So if you want to delete only with the help of employee name, we can do it. And if you observe, everything is an optional. So sometimes you can give all the information, sometimes you can give with this or without this. For a reason, you must know what are all it's optional. I'll tell you some setting if we miss, it is very tough to test it. I'll tell you that. So delete means through employee name only we can delete it. Get details also through the employee name. When you hit the particular server using employee name, we will get the response return type like age, department, ID, name. In the sequence only you will get it. And again, if it is a error, you'll get it as a false message. And you can see the details of this, how it is configured like this. So this is somewhat better than reading the direct WSDL file. So use this feature. And you have a doubt on that, come here and go to the source code. You can able to see, okay, here only they added this one, adding the employee details. These are all the server details. Okay, this is the place it goes and hit it and get the response. Okay, let's try to, like yesterday, now directly I'll try to use any one of the port. So the first port, let me close this, add employee. When you double click this, so this is the request. You can able to see it is having envelope, header is optional, there is no details, and you have the body, these are all the details. So here add employee, the name, ID, department, age. I'm sure our team member's name will not be there, so I'll go with this Anil. Email, that is employee ID, it can be anything. Actually this is all about text. If you see the documentation, it is a string. Actually, if you observe that documentation, it is a string. String means even you can give the number, no problem in that. Okay, I'll put ID, department, age, something like 25. So you are added these details. Now when you hit that particular endpoint, so we used to say URL as an endpoint, hit that server, you will get the response. So you're going to send the request. Fine, employee already exists. See, already someone is there. Anil is already available. Okay, I'll put Anil S like this. 200. See, there is no such data. And this is, since this URL is open, I found it in Google, so I'm sure most of them will be trying this for testing purpose. So some data will be there, some data may not be there. They are not clearing this data, that I understood. 200 okay means what? Success. And now you see the response. We already know the response return will be Boolean. So true or false. Okay, this is about add employee. So now we added some details. Let's check it whether we can able to get that. Again, what we have to do, even though it's an optional, if we give this alone, we'll get the response. So employee name. Here, I'm going to mention this details. Going to hit the server endpoint. See 200. Okay, it means that we got the answer. Rather than answer, we got the response. See here. Anil has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, IT 25. Just now we added. See, this is a real server data. This is not a demo page. In calculator and all, it will not respond. That is just like a local. You add it, you will get the output. But is it possible to do all the main important like deleting operation, such important step and all? We can't do it there. But here we can do it. See that data. Okay, few minutes before we saw Anil is also available. Just let me try to check it. Someone added? Yes, QA 45 Anil. Someone already added. Vinoth is there or not? Definitely it will be there. Good. It's not there. I usually, and now it is there. It's there. Yes. Something. It is already there. We can able to retrieve the data. This is nothing but just imagine in the front end application, you're going to search the flight. You want to add an employee. So you will have a front page. In that, you give all your employee details, right? When you join a new employee, they register your details. Your details will be saved in the database. So they will not do it in the back end. What they do it in the front end application. How the data will be saved is like this only. What will happen? In the back end, all these data, when you click on submit button, it will go and hit that particular company database. It will go and save it. But we should get some acknowledgement, no? So it will get like, yes, you will get a pop-up like employee added successfully. So you are now your new employee ID is created for you. That is a unique one. And same way, after you are an employee, you want to search some details. In all the companies, we have that in the chat option. You go and type some name, it will display the details. So that is somewhat similar to this one. That is, you're trying to retrieve some data, it will display. That is the real-time example. What about delete? Okay, for example, you're about to leave the company. Now, I don't want to keep all your data. Usually company data are important. Your salary, all those details, that calculation, it will be an automated process. If I'm not deleting your data, what will happen? You will get the salary. So I want to delete such data. So in this example, with the help of name, like Anil, but when you send this, you'll not get the response. Raw data 202 accepted. It is actually deleted. So XML, that is what this is a demo page. So they didn't configure it for the response. So it's an empty. But how can I confirm with the help of HTTP? And it is 202. Is it really deleted? Is it possible for me to check? Means yes, we can check it with the help of Git. Just now, I deleted it. See, it does not exist. What about yes? It does exist. Okay, let me delete that also. So I'm going to delete it. So it will go and delete from the server. See, Anil is not there. Same way I can do it for now also. So, okay. Control S means you can save entire project. This is also deleted. So not true. You check the data, it will not be there. It is deleted. And what is the response we will get it? That is important. Here they made it as a fault code. It's an error. That data is not available. Fault code. You can see that reason. Employee does not exist. So this is the data. Employee does not exist. Okay, perfect. And what is the one drawback of this tool is remember you can't take this out of that. It's like a chat. You can take it and put a big screen. That's not possible. In SOAP UI, you have to test this within this particular screen. That's one problem. You have a very small desktop and all means it's going to be very tough. That's the one thing I hate about SOAP UI tool. You have to test multiple requests means you have to be very careful. You have to double click this respective thing and then understand it. So we understood about the application. Like yesterday, what we will do is we will try to add some assertion and understand what everything is all about. So before we move on to the assertion, these are all the assertion. Important. This is what web service testing is all about. Once you say, yes, I have the web service experience, they will be asking you this only. You can tell any application, but what is your work is tested. Test means we are getting the response. Is that response is correct or not? That is what our duty is, right? Actual versus the expected. So that we gonna say it. Before I move on to that, let me know everyone understood about this requirement, this about the applications, these operations. Please reply me. I want more engagement from you all. Yes, no. Yeah, Sandhya, thank you. What about others? Try to interact a lot. I don't want you guys to go and waste time on this after completing the class. Maximum try to. Yeah, one sec. On HR. Okay, one second. Okay, perfect. Let's begin the most important one, this one. How we are going to test it. So there is no that plus button. As I already said, that plus button will be available only if we create the test suite, test cases, those stuff. So what we did yesterday, same steps, I'm going to do it now again. So how to do that? So we have this right click, first generate the test suite. See again, you can able to generate directly. It is very easy. All you need to do, I want it as a single test case for each operation. It means one is for add, another is for div, another is for add employee, get the details and the delete, or else single test case in under one, all the three will be there like this. So that is what they mean it. And again, using the existing one like that, you can do it, but don't do this until you are really in the web service project. I'm saying it, take it as in my advice. It is always good if your resume is having a web service. It's a very high, your resume will be very, what to say, more demanding. If someone is applying for a job, how you know what will happen in the back end? It will suggest, in for example, all seven of them applying a job, um, we have a lot of algorithms. That algorithm as an HR, I will go and give the keyword and search for it. In your resume, it will go and check all these keywords are there. So based on that, it will suggest for my requirement, this particular percentage match 95 percentage. This is 75 percentage. Based on this only, you are getting the call. So all this done in the backend. LinkedIn is in LinkedIn, that is an algorithm. It will work. based on the keyword. So keywords are very important in resume. In that, web service API is such an important one. In that itself, REST is the topic we're gonna learn soon. REST is even more demanding one. That is the latest technology. But do I want to learn SOAP and directly can I move on to REST? Means don't do that, because most of the automation test case, most of the applications are legacy application. It means very old applications in many IT companies. They are still using these SOAP only, not SOAP UI tool, SOAP response. So try to practice it by creating step by step how we learned. Remember, even though this is a value added, don't learn directly. How we learned with proper fundamentals in the Selenium, same way like Java, then we will move on to the next step Selenium, then advanced Java, TestNG. We followed some sequence, right? Same way I'm following a sequence how to learn any topic, any module, go that way. Don't skip any of the topic. That is not at all a good idea. Okay, first, let me create a new suit. Sanity suit. Okay. Once this is done, then under the sanity suit, let's create a test case. Test case 01. Naming convention, it is up to the person. 01 add employee details. Assertion, anyhow, we are going to learn about the assertion. So many assertions we can add it in the single test case. This one. Okay. Now, again, I can add SOAP request. First assertion. What is the first assertion? It's about validating the response for true. So, okay. True validation. True response. I'll put this way. Response validation. That must be true. Okay. So it is asking which binding. 12. Latest one. Add employee. Okay. Now comes the most important common mistake, especially as a newbie. Everyone will do is they forget to select this option. First time alone, if you select, after that, it will be saved. That is, create optional content in the same sample request. If you miss this, you will not get all the fields instance. If you observed it, some of the fields, not some of the field, all fields are optional in this requirement. So if I forget this means, then you will not have a proper request details. So what will happen if this will not be displayed? Because everything is optional, you will be getting like this. So that leads to even testing something you're not adding, but you're missing some data, and testing means what will happen? That's not a proper testing. Always add optional, nothing wrong in that. Then you can modify accordingly. Okay, fine. So let's first try to add the data. Let me go with Anil, then ID 1 2 3 4 5. We deleted it. It is not there. I'm sure about that. Department ID age 25. Run it. 200. Okay, see here. Going forward, we are going to, because most of the validation is all about the actual results with the expected. It means what? It's all about the response only. Most of the validations. See here. HTTP, what is the status code? 200. And if it is a GUI testing, that successful message is the one we validate. Here, what is that successful message? Nothing but the status code 200. Yes, we got it. Then we are getting true or not. So this one only we are going to validate. Now you can able to see that plus. See, this is not available initially. When you open this binding, It will not be there. You have to create like this test, so test case test step. Then only this plus option assertion will be enabled. Okay, first one, response returning true. So what is the method for that? It is contains method. So click on this. You will get recently used. Let's go one by one. First one is property content. Remember, it is not possible for you to remember all these options. That is naturally when you keep doing it, then only you will get used to it. But remember only one thing. If you want to add assertion, you have to create the test suite. Then only this particular plus button you can able to add it. If very less only it will be available, you can explore it one by one. By chance, if you forget it, one is property content. So this one is content. So what I will do is I will try to rename contains assertion. So method is contain. No, so let's go logically. Property contain. See, it searches for the existence of a string token in the property value and supports a regular expression applicable to any property. So I'm going to click on add. So you will get this window. What this means, it is going to validate the response content in that whether that particular day, for example, here we want true. Type that. Any word in this example, it is true. Sometimes some other data you want to validate, maybe you will get the response as your name, your age, your department, transaction ID, employment ID. According to that, you can use contains method. So true. So what you can do, actually ignore case in comparison. This is since you all already know Java. In Java, we have seen equals method, then contains method, then equals, ignore case. So capital and small letter, it will not consider. So same way, here, I can ignore the case. Capital, small letter, does not matter. Even if you have a T like this, it will consider capital T. Small t, not an issue. You can ignore the case and use a regular expression. So it means you may have a transaction ID, some random number, but transaction ID word name, we should get it. What I was saying is like you will get a response like transaction ID, something like this. If you get it, means this is a dynamic one. I can't test this directly. So I have to go for regular expression. This one followed like that. So let's click on OK. It added, but where? So remember the place. This is a place. See? Assertion. You can see it. No, this is the place. It will have all the assertion. Auto enabled. Click on this. By default for all the test step, this SOAP response is a valid one. This is by default that 200, those things will be available. Even you can check it here. Where? See here, by default. SOAP response, that is the code is 200 something. So automatically it will be there. Then you can add that also, I'll tell you. But what we added first is contains. Contains, it's a valid one. What if you put capital T? See, it is false because you're looking for true. It is true, case sensitive, and clearly tell that why it is missing token. This is not there. Okay. What if I put ignore case? In that case, it is fine. See, all the three scenarios, I'm just adjusting according to the report, according to the response. So even if it is small t, capital T, but when you configure this one, it will accept. So these are all. This is a way you will use the contains method. Contains method contains the ignore case. That's it. Two positive scenario, negative. If that is not there, it is going to get fail. If you put false, what is you're expecting some false, and that is not there. It is false. We are expecting false. This is the expected data. What is the actual data? It is true. So all type of a scenario, we can able to test it. Okay, first one is done. Okay, this is done. Contains method is done. Now comes response not having null or false value, not contains. Sometimes you will get many data. In that, you should not find a particular value. If you find that, then it will throw false. Then it will say fail. Exactly opposite to contains. So here, let's go back to that. One more assertion. You can add all the assertion in a single test case. You can add it like here, from here, from here. Anything is fine. It's in the property content. Contains we have seen. Oh, what about all these features? JSON. So these are all the options available for the REST web service. We have SOAP and REST, no? So based on the project, the respective features, the respective options will be enabled. For XML, what is available, that only it will be enabled. Because JSON path, it is all about the REST. This one, not contains. Not contains means search for the non-existence of the string token in the property value. Supports regular expression applicable to any property. It can be anything. Just click on add. So now it will check, make sure that word is not there. If that word is there, then it will it will fail. For example, you're putting true. If it exists, then it will fail. See here. This response contains the token true. We don't want that, not contains. The method is not contains. So what we have to do, reverse condition. So make sure it is not false. False means if that word is not there, then this is a success. So for assertion, yes, we are not getting false. So you can add it in a single go. So what I will do it, I'll put assertion. Okay, two things is completed. Contains, not contains. Very easy one. Now, what is the next one? This is also done. They will ask you what are all the assertions you have interview question. You have to tell these method. Contains, not contains. And the valid SOAP response, HTTP code. So whether we are getting a valid response, valid response means what? It is not having any error. So this is a valid one. By default, it is there. Already it is there actually. I'll remove that. Valid SOAP response. I'm going to add it. This. Property content. Here you have XPath. This is like verifying the exact value with the help of relative or absolute XPath. XML means XPath will come. The same thing when you go for a JSON, this will be disabled. JSON path will be there. So this is a separate topic. Writing the XPath is a separate, very important one. So that we will see it later. Let's complete simple things. Then here, compliance, status, standard. So you can, so if it is for failure condition, you can validate it. First, we will go with the SOAP response. Validates that the last received response is a valid SOAP response. You get pass, green color. If it is a red, it will throw error. Click on add. There is no parameter. You don't need to give any value for that. If it is passed, then it's a valid one. Same thing if for Delhi, when you try to add, okay, let me add Anil again. What happened? It is successfully added. It's a fault message, but still it is valid according to the configuration. So we have requirement, right? In that requirement, they have configured this is the response, you should get it in this format. We get it. Again, it's a valid only. Something not as per the design document, some other fault message you are getting means then it's not a valid one. So it is an invalid. And you can see here, we are looking for true, but it was false. It should not contains. It should not contain false. It does not have it. Here we have only fault. So I think I should revert back that. 1 minute. I'll delete it. Let me execute again. Yes, all three. So revert it. I just deleted and ran executed it again. So this you're getting that response, no? That is as per the standard, not something which is you're getting some unwanted response. Again, how it is happening, it is comparing with the binding document. In the backend, it is happening. Whether the response have a valid HTTP code. HTTP code, again, you can add from here also. Invalid SOAP response, valid HTTP code. Checks that the target, the test step receive an HTTP result with the status code in the list of defined codes applicable to any test step that receives HTTP method. Just add it. It asks what is that number. So just a few minutes back, we know it is 200, 500, 202. See, remember the web service is all about the HTTP code only. That number is very, every number is having a meaning. 200, 201, 202, 404, 505. Like that, every number is having an in-depth meaning. So this one is 200. When you click on this, how to go to the raw. See, 200. Raw text. This is 200. This is the first thing you will check it. In any test case, are we getting the expected status code? 200. Yes, it is perfect. What if I give 404? This is the expectation, or 500 means the employee, it is already exist. I'm expecting that, but you get 200 means it will get fail. The response code is 200, which is not as per our expectation. So automatically this will happen if we add the assertion. Okay. So this also pass. 1 minute in. Okay. I used to get a lot of messages from team members. Okay, HTTP is done. Now comes the response time within the boundaries. Almost this is nothing but the performance testing, sort of, not that much. So when you enter at details, for example, you are searching for an employee details, it should display within a time. We will already get these details from the requirement document. Maybe if it is a front end, they will say the detail needs to be displayed within like 10 seconds. There will be some performance fine tuning level. Within that, it should display. If it is display after 60 seconds means the application or the server is not working properly, we have to make it fail. In another word, it's an unstable application. That we do it in the front end. No, you're checking for something within the synchronization. If it is not happening, what we will say in Selenium, you will put implicit, explicit, whatever. But within that time limit, it should load it. If it is not loading, we will say it is a failed one. Same way here also we can test it. So if you observe everything, the response time for every request and response. There is a response time. This is a response time of this request and getting the response. So it is 61 millisecond. So within that, we should able to get it, or else it will be fail. How to add it again? Click on plus SLA. So here we have few more things. This is an indirect. You want to check invalid HTTP status code, and it should not be SOAP fault. SOAP fault means it is giving some fault message, and we have to make sure it should not be a SOAP fault. So like this, you can add it. So these things you can leave it as of now. Now comes the SLA response. Validate the last received response time was within the defined limit. So within that, what is the defined limit? You're gonna give it now. Applicable to script test steps, and that sends the request and response. So entire thing, add it. It is asking what is the time limit you're going to give. For example, like everything in millisecond. Can I click on OK? See, it is successful. Within that, it is happening. Okay, and we run it everything. Okay, what happened? I ran it again. It is added. It tried to add Anil again. What happened? The success, 500. So now the assertion, see, first itself true is not there. It does not contain true. Good part. It does not contain false. That's the one. It's a valid response as per, and our code is 200. It should be, but we got 500. What about the response? We defined it for how many milliseconds? See, we define means just randomly I gave. In real time, you will get these details from the requirement document. So 100, but it took how many seconds? 105. It is above that. That's why it got failed. See, it does not 5, but 400. So it will fail. So what I will do is for a safety, I will put 200. When I put 200 directly, it will test it. Yes, it is passed. One more time. Okay. No. Okay. I used to tell you, I just clean the data. It contains true, it does not contain false. It's a valid SOAP response. The code is 200 and the response time SLA, it is 66. We defined it for 200. So within the limit. So it means what? It is within the boundary timing. Okay. Or like it is not so complicated. Let me be frank. When we compare it with web front end, Selenium, coding, and all, this is nothing actually. But here also, this is again a manual testing only you're doing it. Automation is also there. Whatever I'm testing, everything you can write it using the Groovy scripting. I'll teach you very soon. But still, testing is very easy. Web service manual testing. At least your resume must contain web service manual testing. Put that keyword. With curiosity, they will ask you first of all, oh, your project is also having web service, what you're doing. Like this is again how smart you are. Sometimes you got in-depth understanding, you completed the automation of this one also using the scripting means, then you can say we have a lot of test cases, like 10 to 20% of the test case using SOAP. Like that you can tell. We have actually in real-time project, some project will have only about the GI testing. In my previous project, one is about UFT automation tool. Another project we had Selenium. Another project we have web service. One more project we were working on mobile automation. So you can define or you can tell lies according to your knowledge level. Everyone will accept that, because no one is going to call to your project and ask. According to complaints, no one will tell what is the testing should happening in their project. So maximum they will test it in the interviews one day. So these are all very, very easy to explain. At least like a manual tester. Maybe one more better, like you were like 2 years in manual testing, 2 years in automation. In 2 years manual testing, I used to do the web service manual testing. Then I moved into Selenium. So now you're putting like whatever you know it, that you are inserting in such a way that your resume or becomes the maximum probability of their requirement. Okay, 90% it matches, 100% it matches. Trust me, team, all of the resume which I have validated, only I'm saying like if I validate 100 resume, 1 or 2 only will be with the web service. Because most of our market, most of the service based company, they focus on front end GUI testing. Very, 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 very rare to find a resume with web service. Then, but now you just imagine if I want to test this application in the front end, means how tough it is. You have to launch the application, you have to enter the details, object identification, click on submit button, you will get the status code. This you're doing it in the front end. Yeah, using automation means you have to go with the experts, or else you have to type and submit. But the same thing, I can able to test it even without the application. Backend, this is called backend testing. See, just I give it the requests and response in the SOAP request form, you're getting 200. If you have the respective application, you go and search for this data in, if for example, you have some GUI application, for this, you'll find this data without any doubt, because you're creating everything through backend. That too, how long it is taking? Very, very less time. That is why the companies now, they are pushing it. Web service is very, very important. Go for web service. You can save a lot of time, especially testing time. So that's the main reason. Now, most of the companies moving to the web services, that is having like SOAP and again, restful. So try to learn it. If you already completed the previous topics, learn this slowly. This is the final thing you're going to add it to your resume. And Python automation and all, no need to add it. Maybe if you're going for an architect, like you're having an 8 years of an experience, already first you go and join the automation resource, work for a few years. Then you will switch again, right? Like after 3 years, now you can also project. I'm saying just this is a plan. You always remember, you are having 4 years of an experience. First enter into IT automation. How you will say? Through manual, through automation. You put it. You joined a company now as an automation resource. You want to switch after 7 years. Now, what is the automation experience you should put? 7 years. Don't put manual testing again. You will get very less salary. Now, if you're going to another company after 7 years or 8 years, most of the expectation we look is architect. Whether the person is having multiple knowledges like GUI, web services, like this, we will look for it. There, what you can do, you put web services, and then again, if you have mobile testing, you can mention that also. Nothing wrong in that. So this is how you should able to sell yourself for better salary. Trust me, my juniors, my team members whom I trained with like 4 years or 5 years, they get 18 lakhs. Seriously, I'm saying 18 lakhs is not at all a small salary. When I joined, like in 5 years, when I moved from TCS to Cognizant, they paid like 8 lakhs. That itself, they said like, we are giving only because of knowledge this much. I just validated. One guy with 10 years of an experience, they HR made like 7.5 lakhs for them. That actually, that guy is a person who is my lead now, who became a lead. He's a senior associate. I was associate in Cognizant. But now this person, you won't believe, I should not say his salary. In event on site, he earns 50 plus lakhs in Chennai itself. Chennai from India itself. He's not in Chennai, he's in Coimbatore. He went to 50 plus lakhs. Trust me, that is the market demand. It is happening. I don't know how many years this is going to be, but last 2 to 3 years, very good pay they are giving for automation resource. Why? I already said this long back. Why I'm saying it again? So many new guys joined here, like Kazi and all recently joined. So please use this opportunity. Don't be attached to your company. Oh my God, this is my company, I should not leave. Don't have that such stupid sentiment. If you have on-site, stay with that company, because on-site is much better. Your resume once get the on-site stamping, you worked in a client location. Actually, this 50 lakhs, why they gave us on-site exposure. He was an on-site manager. My resume, again, it became very demanding. I was an on-site. Same thing I said, like 4 years experience guy got 18 lakhs, right? He is also in on-site. Now he is in Norway. Sorry, sir, Denmark. He's in Denmark. His name is John and he's from Kerala. I know him very well. My team members. So everyone, like, they are started as a freshers. So how you're going to sell your resume is very, very important. When you decided to work for money, go for maximum amount. Don't degrade yourself. Okay, someone gives 30 lakhs. Can I able to manage it? Yes, same work. But you proved already you are having an architect knowledge. The entire roadmap I have created for architect knowledge. So once you done with GUI, full-fledgedly complete a web service. Web service is not like drama. It is going to happen. It is happening. Python, complete it after 1 year, 2 year. Don't leave any topic. Then you get like a salary which you don't want to travel to US or UK. From here itself, we can manage it very well. That salary and all equivalent to the developers, more than developers, more than doctors. So that is the real thing happening around us. Just want to tell you additional information. Okay, we'll move on to the next two things. Security testing. We will get a response. That response should not contain that particular data. We just had this. Security. Sensitive information exposure. Checks the last received message, does not expose a sensitive information about the target system. What if someone hit the server of Facebook? That actually you have API for Facebook. There is something called data analytics. Usually what we will do in data analytics, I will pay for the Facebook or some of the APIs for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They will have some API. Through that, I can able to get the data. That if you see so many politics, they will say like your tweet is created, good thing, bad thing, sentimental analysis. So you put a tweet, you can understand how the people take it. Are they are supporting or they are not supporting? That becomes a very big issue. Data analytics, it is used in US election, Indian election. So what is important is so many hackers, so many data analytics, so many companies hit the servers of big companies. That is sending the request, getting the response. Just imagine if the company Facebook is giving your password, means what will happen? Security loop, right? They can sell it in the black market. When they able to get it all the credit card numbers, black market still it is there. You can Google it. So testing, that is where the security testing is very, very important. That also we can do it here. One small example, just I'm going to add it. So here I can add n number of conditions. See, sensitive information, exposure, assertion, plus you can remove, add token and waters description. So here maybe I put it, add a token. So this token, this word should not be in your response. If it is there, again, it is going to be a problem. Maybe we have only true, right? Anything, maybe like Password. That word is not there actually. When you click on it will ask what that means, description. Okay. Password of the application. When you click on, so project specific, sensitive information include the project specific global configuration. Is it for everything or only for this? You just go and click on OK. Yes, it is not there. Okay, I will try to add true. True is actually, I'm just making it to fail for a reason. I'll put OK. Now you see, it got failed, right? Because the word true, it found it. The true is here. See, this is and all very simple response. There will be some response, it will be very big. It is impossible for you to go and check. Actually, we are doing manual testing only. Even manual testing also, going and validating just like that one by one, it is very, very tough. We don't know what is the length of the response and all. So we can test like this. See, it is true. You will remove that. Positive scenario, negative scenario. So all the 6 important one, we have tested it. Then verify the SOAP fault, data already existing. You can test that. Okay, I'll add that also. This is the important one. Again, here complaints, you can go to the last one. Default. SOAP fault. No, we are not getting fault. If I run this again, see what has happened. SOAP fault, we got SOAP fault, right? SOAP fault. We have to test this. Maybe where I should use this, negative scenarios. You can write n number of test case. And now I did everything in the same step actually. You can add multiple steps. Some step is for assertion the positive, some step for sensitive information. You can come up with a lot of combination of data. It is very easy adding, right? You will go and add like this. Add step. So again, you will add like maybe fault assertion, then choose the respective one, add. Okay. Here also you can go and add the assertion. Like that you can do it, but just to avoid if it is in the same thing, it is easy for you to learn. I put everything in the same step. So depends on the requirement, depends on the project, or in that project, how they have used this coding, the sequence, you can follow that. Okay, fine. So what is that? SOAP fault. It is, we are getting a SOAP fault. What about others? It is failed. True is there, HTTP code is 500. But still the response time, it is going very smoothly. Sensitive information, these things. I'm just removing this SOAP fault. Why? Because if one step fails, when we execute everything, it will change to red. Anyhow, I don't like seeing something with red color. Delete. Okay. Now I can execute as a test case. Now I can execute as a suit. Anything is fine. Double click. Run it. Yes, it's passed. Suit log. You have executed this one. Double click. You are getting like this. Request, response. I'm not adding any properties. Headers, header details. You have it. And you go to that particular one. You can see the assertion. So all the assertion, it is passed. So if you understood the meaning of each method, and since these are all the methods, contains, not contains, SOAP request, valid SOAP request, invalid SOAP request, valid SOAP response, invalid SOAP response, HTTP code within the boundary, security testing, that we call it as security thread and SOAP fault. So these names you should remember. So when you go to this plus, For when you prepare for an interview, what you need to do, write property content. What is having in that particular option, assertion, first one, property content. It is having, contains, not contains. Give some example, put it into paper. Don't first, you know how to do this. Once you're done with the manual testing, write it your notes are very important. So where this http invalid code and all will be under the complaint status. This is easy. Complaints means, again, validate the last received message with the associate WSDL schema definition. So we have that schema definition, right? Big complaints that also we can define. SOAP fault is fine. Response, valid code. This one is something related to the addressing response, something related to headers and other stuff. Security status, not that much important. You can tell these are all things having a scope in your project. Script, automation script, we will run it here. We will add the automation script using this way. Response is nothing but the performance. Security testing, it is security testing, but you should remember it is sensitive information exposure. That word is very important. And JMC, what is the JMC request? I don't know. I think some JMS status. I'll do it now itself. Even I never tested. JMS status in PY. What that mean? It will check for JMS specific error. For example, connection error. Okay, we will see what is that. We have a documentation. So this is the documentation. You can go and something which I missed out, you can go and get a clarity from here. So many, again, I'm saying no, web service is equivalent to GUI testing. What we have seen, it is a very big area. I know some companies, they work only based on web service, WSO2. So many companies are in the market. That company is only for the web service, no front end, all RESTful service like that. So if you apply for that company, you will not get through. I'm saying it, if you apply for a web service company, you will not get through. What you should do is use this as a value added. You have did some percentage. Inside that, if you get an opportunity to move on to web service, you move it. But when you apply for a job, go and check that company profile. The company is all about the front end or the back end, or they talk about web service, they talk about mobile testing. You can easily understand when you read the job description. By reading that, they put a lot of job description about so those stuff and all. You can understand, okay, this is going to be tough. Front end with this is good. So JMS, a session will, there is some specific error connections that we can able to test it like this. Timeout, that particular error, the assertion does not need to be configured. It checks for specific. Within that time, it should happen. If not, it will throw the error. So JMS is itself a separate topic. Some web service applications you can see. So these things and all, you can configure it. Anyhow, security you are done, and database, this option is not available, JDBC. So those stuff also, that is testing of a data, connecting to the database, the response time, the value, those options also there. But again, this is a free version. Some of the feature is not for the open SOAP UI. There is another paid one is there. For that, these options will be available. So you no need to buy or not. Whatever I'm teaching you, that is enough. You can project it. Because this is the same syllabus I'm teaching in my own company. It means what? This is enough to work in any project. Other part, the company will invest on buying the paid product, that you can use it for your growth. Okay, fine. So till now, is everyone clear? Team, all good? Everyone good? Yes? No? Reply? Perfect. I got one reply. What about others? Thank you, Sandhya. Anil, Lachala, Vaibhav, you guys are listening, right? Good. Thank you for replying. Okay, let's move on to the next most important topic, XPath. You're going, see, I'm what I did is just verified this value in the entire thing, like contains and those response. Now, let's try to create one more thing. Add a new test case. Test case 02. Get employee details. Okay. Then let's try to add a step. SOAP request. Get employee assertion for that. Use the 12 binding. Okay. Okay. So let me try to hit the server. Anil, I think Anil only I added it. Yes, Anil only, not Anilas. Okay. Now I can able to test this. Yeah, the reason why I have selected Git is I can able to run any number of time. It is not adding it, right? Just retrieving the data. See 200. And now this is something we are having multiple nodes like age, department, ID, name. So not like before. Before it is just one value. Now you are having these many values. Now it's like whether in the age this value is there, in the department is this there, in the name is this there. So whether it's all number like that, we can able to do some XPath validation. See, ID of the employee, department, and that SOAP response pattern. This is how it should be. Age, only unique name. It is there any duplicates here? So those things we can able to do it with the help of XPath match. See, that is just one option in the assertion. If you go here, property content, this one, XPath match. But this is the widely used feature in the web service testing. So very important one. Don't directly learn this. First complete that. This is like a second level. Okay. We'll see one by one. Let me add it. So our past knowledge on XML, that's XPath, relative XPath, absolute XPath, everything it is going to be reused. That's why when I taught you a class about XPath, I said it very clear. That is the topic used for web service, Selenium automation, even mobile automation. That XPath will travel with you for all types of automation. In latest advanced tools like UFT and all, they added XPath itself as a additional feature. They are sticking to XPath. That topic, again, always try to learn how to write the relative XPath. Okay. Verify the ID of the employee. Where is the ID? This one. When you first, what you need to do is this is where the code we are going to do it and test the expected results. So it's not like you have to run it directly. You can run it here. So many features we have it. We'll go on one by one. First, you click on this declare. So automatically it will declare all the expression and expected results. So this is like node space and the details of the service. So you don't need to worry about it. Automatically it will do it. Once this is done, we have to come here. This is the place we are going to write all the thing. So let me save it. I will copy this response. My favorite, always I use the Notepad++. Give me a second. Language. Okay, fine. So I'm going to find what is the value is. Maybe what was the requirement? ID. ID is this one. So we have to validate what is the ID. The ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct? So what we will do, we will try to go with in a sequential way. These all falls under NS, node space NS. In the NS only we have it. In that NS what? Response. It is get employee details response. So double slash relative XPath, node space. So first in the, you no need to be specific with body or envelope. This is not absolute XPath. This is a relative XPath. So directly put double slash, it will take it out. So here, because this response contains multiple value. And then what is the next level? This is the next level. Then what we need ID. So purely see, this is how it is configured. I am using this. If you have different type of written not with NS, some other format, you have to stick to that. So if you give this data, this will directly find this one. I can do that here. Double click. Put it here. Click on select from current. Whether it is selecting it or not, I can able to do it. And then you can test it. For example, I'm putting this one. Just see. So it is retrieving the value. See? Okay. This means this will retrieve it. What about where? What about this one? If I give this one, what it will retrieve? You can visualize here itself. Invalid. If I take this, see it is retrieving the value. In that, I want this one. I would have done it here, but this very small font. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, point numbers. You can test it. Now it is getting it. Or in real time, what you will do, you will put this, and this is my expected results. You can test it. See here, you have to get like this. The response match content. It is success. So it means what? I am expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, you made it 1, 2, 3 and tested. An error will come. What is an error? What is the actual data? It is 1, 2, 3. Sorry, what is the actual data? It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is an expected data? It is 1, 2, 3. It is failed. So I can able to test using the XPath. Error and success. So test it. Yes, you're getting it. Save. Now you run it. It's pass. XPath matcher. Employee. It is done. Verify the ID. Now verify the department. So what I taught is this one, right? This one, you can also write it. Again, I'm teaching all the combination, how you can do it. Directly, you can use like this also. That is this also fine. Why you taught this means, see, sometimes you will get nested nodes. So you have sometimes this department you may have it twice. So when you go like a common way, just like true, go and find true means multiple places you will get a true. But if you are very specific about where, you have to parse it. You have to travel it step by step. That's what we call it as parse it. This is the best way. That my response is only one, you will get it. Directly I want to find me. This is also fine. Either way, you can do it. Now recently used itself, we will have that. I can choose it from here. Or let's go to the complaints. Where? Sorry, property content, XPath. One more XPath. This is for the department. Again, declare it, give it here. Select from the test. I'm just trying to test it. Yes, it is selecting. We need ID only. Test it. Perfect. Okay. So XPath measure for ID. Righty. This is XPath matcher for everything is XPath matcher only. You can able to clone also. If you clone one more thing, you'll get it. Then you can use it. If because always clicking or declaring that is an additional task, right? That is why. Again, depends. Okay, now what is the next one is verify the department. This is done. Verify the SOAP response. Check the SOAP response pattern. 85 attribute display. Okay. There are some additional thing like attribute display. Nothing but whether we have that particular attribute, we already know, right? Attribute, get attribute method. What is the meaning? This is an attribute, no? This is an attribute and its value. We want to check whether that attribute is exist or not. For example, this age is exist or not. I'm not worried about value. I'm worried about this attribute. How to do that? XPath matcher. Declare it. So again, this one directly I can choose it. So this for double. Now if you'll get this, but this is the one we already seen. Attribute means I'm going to check whether these is exist or not. So I will say like method is exist method this value, whether this is exist in this data or not. True, yes, it is exist. It's click on test, it is successful. For example, I'll put ages. You want ages? No, that is not available. Test. Why? Ages. It should fail. It is giving a false fail. Actually, this is wrong. It should fail. Anyhow, what if I remove this? Invalid XPath. That itself it is saying invalid. Okay, I clicked this. Maybe what do you mean by A? False. It is choosing something. Okay, till that it is there or not. Okay. It should be false. I don't know why it is not properly selecting it. So let's go with the positive scenario. True. And allow wildcards. Ignore namespace prefix. This I don't want to put it. You can ignore it. And ignore XML comment. So you put /, give Java comments, right? Same way, even in XML creation, you can give the comments. That if you want, you check the TestNG when you generate the XML document, in the side it will be there. In Maven pom.xml, when we add a dependency, in the top of it, you will put exclamation ... That is the comment, XML comment. We can ignore that. So this is the one. Okay, XPath match attribute. Attribute. Where then the next one? Response pattern. Unique name, whether it returns the unique name or not. Okay, in 1 minute. Okay. Okay, that I will one query. I will explain you at the end. Fine, no worries. Only unique name. Okay, let's back to this ID and department and only unique name returns. Let's check whether a unique only one occurrence is there. For what we will see. Let's try to add it. Go for the XPath matcher. Maybe age. Age. We have seen already age, no? Department. We have to. Okay, let's go with name. Only one occurrence should be there. When you search for Anil, only one value should have it. You will get multiple value means it is not allowed. Multiple data for that thing which you choose. Declare it. So now again, for that, the method is count. So what is the count? It is 1. See, only 1. By chance, if you're not giving this, you're searching for a data. If in real time scenario, if you search using the employee ID, it is a unique one, primary key. But if you search with the name in your company database, so many persons will be under your name. So multiple duplicate values, not duplicate value. For that request, you are having multiple data. So at that time, that is wrong. So this is, we can able to use the count, whether the same thing is coming once or twice. Save it. So XPath, what is the meaning of this count method? So count method is also done. So again, this is how we can able to test it. So response pattern is, we have to get it in the written as NS. So that one I missed it. XPath, declare it. So how you're getting the response pattern? I'm getting the response pattern like this as a written. I can put that. So this is what the response pattern. I should get like this only. That is what the meaning. Okay. You test it. Response pattern is there. Some pattern it should follow. Pattern. In that, I'm going to add a little bit more into that. Same response pattern. I'm going to clone it with wildcard. So here, what I'm saying, you should get a response pattern. Here, it can be, see, sometimes transaction number will be unique one every time you run. So what will happen if that is the one dynamic value? If it changes some, it actual and expected, it will go and it will not be same, then it will be failure. So wildcard means what you can do, you can put star. So it means what? This field in this place, we can have anything. That is what the meaning. So see here. Here it is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of this place, if I put star, any value is fine in this. Allow wildcards. Then that also it will allow. See wildcard. So that is what this pattern I should have mentioned here. So all these are all some examples. We use it for testing ID rather than going. So by default, this will be added. So first we are trying to test by giving from step by step from the root node, from the response node. Then directly we can give it. That also it will work. And then attribute whether this is available in the response or not. And then count of it. Then response pattern. I need like this. If that pattern is there or not. Actually, in real time, you will copy and give it here. Now we are directly giving from the current. So we are getting. When you try with another combination of a data, whether we are getting in the same way. Sometimes the data will be varying. This is the one you are expecting. But that is not there means it will throw error. Every time this data will keep on changes. New ID will be generated means then what I will do, I will put star. So all other data is as per that. This one is going to be dynamic. I can use the wildcards. That's about the XPath assertion. Yes. Now, everyone, till now, all good, team? Everyone understood? Is it easy or tough? You can't by heart this, but this is just a step-by-step process. Everyone understood meaning of these things, meaning of this. Perfect. Okay. Then comes the most next level of this SOAP UI tool. Like what we are doing is everything is an hard-coded value. Hard-coded value means I'm giving this names and in here, but I can able to define that in the custom properties as suit level, test case level, test lab level, global level for all the project, or project level. So that is what the next topic, global project to suit test case test step from external file. I can load the data. So this topic we are going to learn it. Uh, we're going to learn it next session. Very important one, because already automation means hard coded value is not allowed. So when we gain manual in during manual itself, we will mention this the same step, the same examples, whatever I'm teaching manually, that I will convert into automation code with the help of Groovy script in the upcoming classes. So first get the idea of every features. See, you're learning web service using SOAP UI tool. So SOAP UI tool is, these are all the functionality or features this tool is providing that you should know more than web service. Web service, again, you're sending a request, you're getting the response. No doubt on it. But this tool, SOAP UI tool, Postman API tool, rest assured. So when you use different tool, that tool what is giving the functionality, what features it is providing, so that we can easily test the web service. That is what important for the interview. Especially when you go for an interview, they first check your knowledge about these like a Java or Selenium. After that, they check knowledge about framework. See, annotation, how you're implementing. So if you take TestNG, it's all about annotation, because already you know whether you're going to put a Selenium code using Python, Java, that does not matter. But in the TestNG, what is the meaning of each annotation? Annotation is a feature. Same if you take UFT tool, they will talk about object repository, how will you add it, local repository, shared repository, object identification. So in some of the interviews, they focus on all the features, how you use it with the help of tool. So the SOAP UI is also important. Here we are learning two stuff. One is web service testing. Another one is learning about the SOAP UI tool. That is why I'm choosing different combination of a tool. The same testing after some days, I'll do it in the Postman API. Just one. This I can do it using Postman API also. We have another tool, part of the web service. So here again, you can send the request, get the response, all type of API network. You can use all the HTTP method, get, post, put, delete, patch, how you are sending it, params. So this URL we will write. This is using the REST. I am doing it. Very soon some URL we will see using the REST method, JSON. Out we are doing it with the XML. So same story in different tool. This is passing it as an JSON. Again, this is passing it as an XML. This is what we are sending it, right? So how we are sending the request, hitting the server, getting the response. Those I can use this Postman API. And suddenly when Postman API came, trust me, it changed the market. This is something happening in the web service area. Everyone, I'm sure, when they want to do the web service manual testing or automation testing, now the most preferred tool is Postman API. You'll do everything here. You will get, you will do manual testing here. You can automate also. Based on this response, you in the framework, you will write the code. You will test it. Again, rest assured you're going to do it. I will use Postman API. You're going to learn Karate framework. That is automation without Java coding. That is also, I will get the help of this tool. Then why SOAP AI means? SOAP AI is something like ABCD. As a fresher, when you start with SOAP UI tool, it will be very easy for you. Then suddenly I will increase the next level, next level. At one point of time, you decide what you should mention for the interview based on your knowledge level. So that's for today. First, let me pass the recording and then we discuss on everyone's queries one by one. Just go through all these functionalities. It's very easy. Okay, passing the recording. Saying it again. Okay, fine, Achala. No, have okay. Just go through the recording. Fine, great. So what I was saying is, in olden days, any place you go, for example, you access an ATM, if money is not there or the server is down, long back in SBA, they follow this process. You will get some slip with some error code. You will check for that. Even for front end testing, it was like that. Then improvement and that development, like nowadays, if something is not working, it will give the invalid transaction. It is, they handle the exceptions front end. But what in the back end is, in the back end we are testing it, we should know you will have some sheet in your project like 200, 201, 505, like this. You will have lot of status code. Every status code is having its own meaning. Like with that only we can able to test it. We can able to test that data. So this value we will get it. This is an expected data. If you get this is how it should get it. So based on that we will design it. So for creating we should get 200. Already the data is there means then it is going to be a problem. Then it will get 500 because now I will run this. See 500. 500 you should not get it. 500 means the employee already exists. It means what? Your test case is failed, right? You're not unable to add the test case. So it's a failure. So see, it is you should be able to add it, but you are unable to add 500. So that is the reason it is getting failed.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So this is automation testing. I will write the script for everything. Tear down test case 1. I want to test it in all the data. So very soon we will be learning all this stuff. So this is the one. Okay. Perfect project. See, Groovy basics. You do all these stuff with the help of single line command, multi-line command, getting log, then switch statement, for loop, a small basics. And you want to do an end-to-end testing. See, now what I did is manually, the same thing I can able to set the properties, create all this name, department, everything. You're creating the automation script. Then get property. Set means you are setting the value and you're trying to retrieve that value. Here, this is what we have seen, the assertion, that script assertion. You can able to add all the script and you're trying to pass the value from one thing to another. And finally, many features we have it. You're trying to add the value, remove the property. After completing it, you're trying to remove all these value. So Groovy script, everything it's here we use these Groovy script. The same thing only, but whatever you're doing it manually, I can use the Groovy script and do the automation so that you no need to go and modify the scene. This is all parameterization. We already learned, we declare a variable. So parameterization. So in future, what we will do it, we just open this and give a value here. Because an end to end from starting to till the end, all of them going to use the same value. So every time you open, modify it, that is going to a painful work, right? So what you can do is you can automate. So anyhow, we have a time. We'll discuss on this again. So I'm passing the recording. Whomever is done, they can leave the meeting. Thank you, team. We will see next class. I'll share the recordings very soon. Thank you for joining today's session.